Podcast. On today's episode, we talk about some Cubs news, we talk about the White Sox, and we got a little bit of Bears for you and some Notre Dame. So let's kick it off right now. Kevin Gausman, Clay Holmes, they all pitched decent against the Diamondbacks. And the Cubs had some struggles this week with the weekend series with the Mariners. We took the first game, and then we dropped the next two. Then we took the first game of the Diamondback series, and then we dropped the next two. But here we go. Kevin Gausman, 7 shutout innings against the Diamondbacks, and we played really well in this game, winning that game 7-0. So where does Kevin Gausman fit in this postseason rotation? And Kevin Gausman, to me, I mean, he's a gamer. He was huge in the playoffs for the Toronto Blue Jays. We went out, we made this trade, we got Kevin Gausman. Kevin Gausman, in my opinion, should be the day 2 starter in a best-of-3 series. I trust him to take the ball. Yes, he's got hand cramp issues. Yes, the dude sweats mayo. He's always looks like he's under the gun. He's under pressure. But Kevin Gausman, to me, is that number 2 starter. I still think you have to give it to Matthew Boyd. The way we got him last year, the way we got him a couple years ago, you have to be able to give him that chance. I'll tell you one person that definitely does not fit into this rotation, that is Shota Imanaga. He gives up home runs in the worst possible situations, so I do not trust him. So I would go Matthew Boyd, night 1 starter. Kevin Gausman, night 2 starter. And then Clay Holmes is your 3rd game starter. I feel that that's the right rotation to go with. And Kevin Gausman has done nothing but show us, prove us. Now, am I being prisoner of the moment because he had a really good outing against the Diamondbacks? Probably, because his last couple starts have not looked that great. But I trust Kevin Gausman in a big, high-leverage situation. So I would go Kevin Gausman in Game 2. Game 3, we lost to the Diamondbacks 2-0. And yes, the umpires in the 6th inning did miss a balk call, which PCA absolutely flipped his lid over. Am I going to get too much on the umpires here? At some point, the umpires are a major liability in baseball. They're a major liability in the postseason. I mean, you look no further than Anibal Sanchez with the Detroit Tigers and how he missed out on a perfect game because the umpire just was completely negligent and missed a call at first base, called the runner safe when he was out by a mile. Like, that's egregious right there. And this balk call, now, if you don't score runs from a good outing by Imanaga, then that's on us. Like, that's on the Cubs. Actually, was it Imanaga or was it Matthew Boyd? I think it was Matthew Boyd. Matthew Boyd gave us a great outing in Game 3, and then we can't get runs across the plate. I get it, the Diamondbacks are a good team, they have solid pitching, but if we're going to blame a loss on a balk call, it's 0-0 in the 6th inning, mind you, and there's a balk, and it looks like PCA is going to score easily because if there's a balk, the runner automatically advances. So I understand his frustration, and if 4 umpires can't make the call, like, we can challenge home runs, we can challenge balls and strikes, but we cannot, and we can challenge outs at second or third or first. We can challenge pickoff plays and steals, but we can't challenge a balk. I think that needs to be addressed. So not being able to challenge balks is really detrimental to the game, especially when it happens so frequently. But we have to be able to go to New York or somewhere. If 4 umpires can't get it right, then somebody has to be able to make that call, and I think it should go to New York. If we can challenge everything else, why can't we challenge that? So there's some good news. Justin Steele has been spotted in Arizona, and it looks like he's going to make his way to Iowa and possibly join this team in late September. So the question is how does Justin Steele help us down the stretch? I don't want to rush him back. Obviously, we missed him all last season, and we missed him a little bit in the season before that. I don't want to rush Justin Steele back. Obviously, when Justin Steele was pitching, he was a top-flight ace for us. He was an out-getter. He was a swing-and-miss guy. I don't want to rush him back because if we could have him in the postseason coming out of the bullpen in a clean inning, I think that would be really good. So do we really need him to pitch down the stretch here? You know, I don't want us listen, we have two really big series this week, okay? We start the series with the Cincinnati Reds Friday, Saturday, Sunday, and then Monday we get ready for a huge showdown with the Milwaukee Brewers, and we are 7 games back of Milwaukee. So we need to, first of all, win this series against the Reds. We cannot overlook the Reds. I don't care what their record is. They have a good manager in Terry Francona, and the team is a very hard team to beat. So I don't want to overlook the Reds at all. But when you have a series looming with the Milwaukee Brewers, who are the division leaders by 7 games, it's kind of hard to not look past the Reds and get ready for this series because we need to make up some hay against the Milwaukee Brewers in this series, and we need to take 3 out of 4, and that is non-negotiable. A split does us nothing here. We have to defeat the Milwaukee Brewers 3 out of 4 in Wrigley because the Brewers have a weekend series against the Texas Rangers. Now, it's a home game. It's a home series against the Texas Rangers, but the Texas Rangers are fighting for their AL West lives. And the Rangers just had they just put out a good series against the Chicago White Sox. So this Rangers team is not to be slept on. So if we could take the series from the Reds, hell, if we could sweep the series from the Reds, that is huge. And if the Brewers can lose 2 out of 3 to the Texas Rangers, that would be huge. But the Milwaukee Brewers are one of the best teams in baseball. And the Texas Rangers are fighting for their playoff lives. So this should be a competitive series, but most likely the Brewers are going to win this series. And we have to take care of our business against Cincinnati. But if we could go into this series against the Brewers down 5 and take 3 out of 4 and cut it to 3 or 2, that would be huge going down the stretch because then you put a little pressure on the Milwaukee Brewers. But, yeah, Justin Steele, where does he fit in? I think he's a bullpen option in the postseason. But if we go into this series against Milwaukee and just completely crap the bed, which would be just awful, that would be terrible if that happened. But if we can go into this series and win 3 out of 4, but if we don't, if it's the latter and we lose 3 out of 4, maybe you start Justin Steele late September in a meaningless game just to see what you have. But I would not want to rush Justin Steele back. I would not want to rush him back too soon, in my personal opinion. The setback to Ben Brown definitely hurts, and that's where we're going to get into this now, is which Cubs pitching injury has hurt this team the most. And I think it begins and ends with Cade Horton. Cade Horton going down with Tommy Johns is awful. That's why we had to go out and make the trades for Kevin Gausman. That's why we had to make the trades for Clay Holmes. That's why we had to make the trade to go get David Peterson, because we need arms. Because we don't have Justin Steele and we don't have Cade Horton, and we lost Ben Brown, who was pitching really, really well in the beginning of the season, and losing him really sucked. And now Ben Brown has a setback, and now we don't know when we're going to get him back, and God, you just hope he's going to be healthy going forward, but we don't know what's going on with Ben Brown, and that setback really hurts this Cubs team. It really hurts this Cubs team, but we have a good, solid 3 starters lined up right now if we get to the postseason, which we should get to the postseason. I mean, we don't get to the postseason, we make all those trades, we lose those prospects, and we don't make the postseason, that would be absolutely terrible. But right now, it looks like the Phillies are starting to creep up on us. It looks like the Diamondbacks are starting to creep on us. So it looks like the wild card is starting to tighten up a little bit. We had a nice cushion for a while, but we're starting to slip a little bit. So we definitely need to get this. We need to make the postseason with what we have. We have to. Jed Hoyer went out. He trusted this team. He believed in this team. He made those trades, and we have to make the postseason. That's non-negotiable. Now, thinking about the series against the Diamondbacks, this is where my thought process heads to. What's scarier to think about? Because our bats were neutralized in this series against the Diamondbacks, and our bullpen was atrocious in this series against the Diamondbacks. And then you have to worry about Daniel Palencia and what's going on with him. He's been a little erratic lately. We're hoping he can get back on track because we need the Daniel Palencia that we saw in the World Baseball Classic. If we have that fireball thrower coming back, that would be awesome. But right now, Palencia he's a little iffy. So this is one of those tricky questions because the Cubs' offense against good pitching does struggle. We have a tendency to go on these streaks where we just can't hit anything. Bregman can't hit. PCA can't hit. Nico can't hit. Seiya Suzuki can't hit. On and on and on. And obviously we're missing Dansby Swanson, who was hitting like a terror before he got hurt with the oblique. But I think the real cause for concern has to be our bullpen. It has to be our bullpen. You got good outings from Clay Holmes. You had a good outing from Matthew Boyd. And the bullpen continues in close games to kind of shrink a little bit in big moments. Jacob Webb had issues. Matone has been just awful. He's not been the reliever we thought we were getting, and Zephyr John has really been struggling as well. So that's my big concern, is that we get good pitching, we get enough hitting, but the bullpen just can't close it down in October. I think that's my biggest fear going forward, not the bats. I know our offense is going to show up, but that bullpen is what's iffy for this Cubs team, to be honest. How far, talking about the starters, Gausman, Clay Holmes, Matthew Boyd, how far can these arms get us in October? And like I said, these trades were made for one reason and one reason only, to solidify our October run. If this Cubs team does not make the NLCS, I feel this season has been a giant disappointment. I mean, I know we lost Cade Horton. I know we lost Justin Steele. Those were going to be our two guys. And then you were pairing them with a Matthew Boyd, and you're pairing them with a Shota Imanaga. But if this Cubs team, if this group of pitchers can't get us to a series against either the Brewers or the Dodgers in the NLCS, then that's a major problem. If we get knocked out in the NLDS again, that's when issues are going to start to rise with, is Craig Counsell the guy? Did we do enough to solidify the pitching? Did we do enough to get the bullpen right? Did we do enough to get enough of a slugger like a Bregman? Was that enough? So I feel you have to make a deep run, and it has to either advance to the World Series or lose in the NLCS. That's the only way this would be a successful season for the Chicago Cubs. Anything less than that, and this has been a failure by this Cubs team. You had a rock-solid lead in the wild card. That's starting to shrink. And now, with the series against the Diamondbacks, now you start to have some questions. And when you have the Brewers looming for that big series, that big 4-game series at Wrigley, we have to take care of our business. We have to take care of business. Absolutely have to. So, we took the first 2 against the White Sox, but then Jose Urquidy shut us down in that third game with 6 scoreless innings, and we couldn't do anything against him. But he followed it up with a lackluster performance against the Texas Rangers, giving up 5. do the White Sox have enough pitching to make a playoff run? That's the question here. That's the question, and you have the Twins that are right on your heels. I think it's a 1.5 game lead, or it's 2. It's very close. And you have a series with the Twins looming. Do the White Sox have enough pitching? And I don't know. I don't know, to be honest, if they have enough pitching. Davis Martin, I don't know what's going on with him. But here's the thing. If the White Sox don't make the postseason, will it be a successful season for the White Sox? I personally think yes. It has been a successful season for the White Sox. Nobody expected them to be in the division race. Also, nobody expected the AL to be this weak. But when it's there for the taking for the White Sox, I mean, yes, it's going to look like a failure if the White Sox miss the playoffs completely. But this pitching is not very good. And you're going to need Castillo to pitch at a high level. And so far, that acquisition of Castillo is not paying off for this White Sox team because he's had 2 really bad, maybe 3 really bad outings for the White Sox. And the White Sox, I don't know if their starting pitching is enough to hold off the Minnesota Twins. This is a very close race now. The White Sox have made this a close race by struggling here, and they're going to have to figure themselves out. But in the huge aspect of everything, in the landscape of everything, the White Sox missing the playoffs would suck now. But they've already surpassed their win total from 2 years of just absolutely dreadful baseball. So I feel that it would be a success for whatever the White Sox do here on out. But losing the division and missing the playoffs completely will look like a failure, but at least you know you have a future for this White Sox team, and they're just hurt by pitching. They're just hurt by pitching in this slump from Colston Montgomery. It's not helping matters either. But I think this White Sox season has been a success so far. But if they make the postseason, then it's been more than a success. It's been an absolute success. All right, let's get into a little bit of Chicago Bears topics. First and foremost, Kevin Fishbain came out and said, if not Wilson, that's Bulls news. We're not ready to talk Bulls yet. That's coming, and probably not going to be very good to talk about, but it's coming. If Caleb Williams has a Russell Wilson type of career in Chicago, is it a success? Or because he was the number 1 overall pick and he's called generational, that falls short of our expectations? Leave it in the comments what you think, but here's my opinion. Fact of the matter is, Caleb Williams has a Russell Wilson type of career. That means the Chicago Bears have won a Super Bowl. And that's really all we want for this Chicago Bears team, is a Super Bowl. We want a championship. It's been since 1985 for this Bears team. Think about it. In 2006, if Rex Grossman won the Super Bowl, that's all we needed. That's it. You could make all the damning opinions about Rex Grossman all you want. Oh, he sucked. Oh, he wasn't consistent. Yeah, but you know what? He won us the Super Bowl. So I think if Caleb Williams wins us a Super Bowl, it's a success. Because what do we have to go on? Jim McMahon winning the Super Bowl back in 1985? Anything Caleb Williams does after winning a Super Bowl is gravy. Winning us a Super Bowl, that's the main course. That would be the steak. Anything else after that is chimichurri. It just makes the steak better. So I personally think if he has a Russell Wilson type of career, that means he's made 10 Pro Bowls. That means he's gone to 2 Super Bowls. He's won one of them, and he's an MVP. And personally, I take it. And I think any Bears fan would take it. Any Bears fan would take Caleb Williams having the same career as Russell Wilson in Seattle as a success. 100%. We just want the Super Bowl. I don't care about anything else. I don't care about what Russell Wilson has done with the Pittsburgh Steelers. I don't care what Russell Wilson has done with the Giants. But damn it, he had a phenomenal career with the Seattle Seahawks. And if Caleb Williams can have that, it's a success. Now, generational means Caleb wins multiple Super Bowls. He's like Patrick Mahomes. That would be amazing too. But as a Bears fan, as somebody that's never, with his own eyes, other than highlights and videos and hype packages and 30 for 30s, as a Bears fan, heading into my 40th year of life, watching them lose a Super Bowl, the Indianapolis Colts, all I want is Caleb Williams to win a Super Bowl. That's it. He does that, he's a success in Chicago. He is right up there. I don't need multiple Super Bowls. I don't want to be greedy. I just want one. I just want one. And 1985 does not count for me because I was not born yet. I just want one. So, yeah. Caleb Williams, a Russell Wilson type career, check it off. That's a success in my book. Now, with all the injuries to this Chicago Bears defense, I bring this to you. Which Bears rookie do I feel most confident will have an impact for this starting lineup? The correct answer is Dylan Thieneman. Dylan Thieneman is the only answer. Comment below what you think. Which Bears rookie is going to have an impact on this Bears team this season? It has to be Thieneman. We don't have Kobe Bryant. Thieneman was supposed to be the Robin to Kobe Bryant's Batman. Kobe Bryant goes down, Thieneman has to be Batman now. And he's going to have some rookie up and downs. But if Thieneman can have a Rookie of the Year type of season on defense, I think that's huge. If Jordan Van Denberg can crack the front four for the defensive line, and he gets a couple of sacks, that means Montez Sweat has more opportunities to do his thing. But I think the answer is Thieneman with how thin we are on the backside of our defense. Thieneman is the correct answer. Xavier Thomas, Malik Muhammad, Sam Roush. To be honest, if Malik Muhammad plays really well too, that also would help Thieneman. But the answer is Thieneman. We took him in the first round. We're expecting big things out of him. The answer is Dylan Thieneman. Should we be concerned with the left tackle position for Caleb Williams? Should we be concerned about this? I know we got Ozzie trying to come back from his injury. Obviously, Braxton Jones. It's obviously not going to be Imagaji. This has turned into a disaster to waste a third-round pick on him. Am I concerned about it? No. Ben Johnson knows offense. Ben Johnson knows how to scheme around things. We had issues last year at left tackle and we figured it out. So I am not concerned with the left tackle position. Now, if I start seeing issues, then maybe I will be concerned with this left tackle position. But right now, going into this final preseason game and getting ready for the Panthers week 1, I am not worried about it. With all the injuries to the defense, for this Bears defense to have a successful season and for this Bears team to have a playoff run, which defensive player needs to be a Pro Bowler? Now, the Pro Bowl has been eliminated, and we'll get to that later. But I feel for the Bears to have a real shot at winning this division, one of the defensive players that needs to be a Pro Bowler would need to be Montez Sweat. And as you hear Dennis Allen, you hear Ben Johnson, that Montez had one of his best years last year. He did some things that didn't show up in the game, but on tape, there was a lot of things that made quarterbacks get off their spot and put them in tough situations. But if Montez Sweat can have a Pro Bowl season, like 15 sacks, and we get some pressure from Austin Booker, or we get some pressure from Gallimore, or we get some pressure from Gervon Dexter, who apparently we're trying to trade. So I don't know what's going on there. But if Montez Sweat is in the Pro Bowl conversation, that means this defensive line is working, and that means that this Bears team is fighting for the division. So Montez Sweat is my pick. Now, Jalen Johnson can also be my pick, because that means that the secondary is having a hell of a job too. Also, Thieneman. Thieneman wants to put his hat in the ring there to be a Pro Bowler. That means good things too. But yeah, I think those are the three that if their names are mentioned for Pro Bowl nominations, that means the Bears are having a good season. Now, with all the injuries to this defense for the Chicago Bears, apparently Josh Sweat wants out of Arizona, and after what I've seen from Arizona, I'd want out too. You're going into the season with Jacoby Brissett. You have Carson Beck as your backup. You have a young Jeremiah Love who's brand new to the NFL, so you can't put that all on his shoulders. Josh Sweat wants out. Should the Bears entertain this? And I know we swung and missed with Max Crosby, but here's the deal. Caleb Williams is on a rookie deal, and we have to take every advantage of this now, because we don't know if Caleb is going to try to be Tom Brady and rework a brand new contract or take less to keep this team competitive for 5-10 years. We don't know. We don't know what that's going to be, but we know one thing is that we're going to have to pay Caleb Williams. But Caleb Williams seems to love Chicago. He seems to really want to be here. So I'm hoping that he will take a team-friendly deal, and we're able to continue to keep building around Caleb Williams. If he truly wants to be Tom Brady, if he wants to be a Patrick Mahomes, he's going to do that. But it's not guaranteed that his agent or him is going to think that way. With the issues I have with this defensive line, knowing that Montez is going to get his 9 to 10 sacks, that's a given. And we got to find another 10 somewhere else. Why not go get Josh Sweat? Who cares what it's going to cost us? Now, I know a lot of teams have done bad trades to help their football teams. I mean, starting with Deshaun Watson. I mean, Stephen A. absolutely... I mean, it's an old comment, but when he said he was awful and he should be arrested, if he was arrested for being awful, he wouldn't mind it. That's a terrible trade right there. There's been other trades that have been terrible. But here's the fact of the matter. If the Bears think they can win now, go get Josh Sweat. You put the two Sweats next to each other. You put Montez here. You put Josh here. You're looking at 20 sacks. That improves our defensive line. And that opens up more opportunities for our interior, a Grady Jarrett, a Gallimore, a Gervon Dexter, to get in there and cause havoc. That would be a very good defensive line. And most importantly, and this is the real reason why we should really entertain getting Josh Sweat. You keep him away from Green Bay, because Green Bay is the number one spot for him to go to right now. You keep him away from Green Bay. Now, obviously, Ryan Poles might be afraid to do this, because the last time he made a trade just to keep somebody away from Green Bay was Chase Claypool. And we should have let Chase Claypool go to Green Bay because he was an absolute disaster when he got here. But if we can get Josh Sweat, who's 29 years old, but he had like 12 sacks last season, you go get him. You go get him. Because if you want to be the division winners again, you need a playmaker on defense. And right now, Montez Sweat is the only one we have. Every single other defensive player on this team, on that defensive line, is a huge gamble and a question mark. I know we're hoping to get something out of a motivated Dayo Odeyingbo, but if you had an option between Josh Sweat and motivated Dayo Odeyingbo, you're going to take Josh Sweat. The Bears should at least look into it. If they were looking into Vita Vea, why not go look into this? And you keep him away from Green Bay, because I don't want to see Micah Parsons on one side and Josh Sweat on the other, staring down Caleb Williams. The last time the Bears did something like this, they got Khalil Mack. We didn't win a Super Bowl, obviously the double doink, but he made an impact year one. I personally would go trade for Josh Sweat. I would get him, because if we get Josh Sweat and then we have Montez Sweat and then whatever the interior with Grady Jarrett is going into week one against the Panthers, I feel a lot more comfortable about this defense. And I get it, it's going to cost us, but here's the thing. If you go look on Google, it's only going to cost us a third-round pick. If you compare one of our useless defensive players and a third-rounder for Josh Sweat, go do it. Go do it. And then we'll deal with whatever the contract is, whatever the money is. That's why the Bears pay Ryan Poles, is to figure out those situations. So if you can take this swing and hit, go ahead and do it. Go ahead and do it, Bears. Did the NFL do the right thing by eliminating the Pro Bowl? 100% yes, because the Pro Bowl sucks. The Pro Bowl sucks. And then you turned it into flag football, and then you let players pick their teams. This sucked all around. First of all, you're not going to get the big names playing in this game anymore, because one, they're playing for the Super Bowl, so they don't have time to do this crap. And two, they just don't want to. They don't feel like playing in wherever the hell they play, that it's worth it. What are they playing, like Orlando now? That's not really a vacation for these guys. They did the right thing, and I think we need to take a long, hard look at other sports in their All-Star games. First of all, the NBA All-Star game, get rid of that shit. Get rid of the NBA All-Star game. That shit sucks. This is not the 90s anymore with the NBA. These guys don't care anymore. They don't care anymore. LeBron James doesn't give a shit. Steph Curry doesn't give a shit. None of those NBA players give a shit about their All-Star game. That's why you have scores like 250 to 275. That's why it looks like the frickin' Harlem Globetrotters out there and not an NBA basketball game. The days of Kobe Bryant's and Michael Jordan's competing, wanting to win their All-Star games, those are over. Those are over. So if sports are going to if they're going to take something from the NFL, get rid of their friggin' Pro Bowl, NBA, you should be next. That one is absolutely atrocious. You get rid of that All-Star game. Hockey, at least with the four nations, they kind of figured something out there. You know, the USA and Canada did over 9 million in ratings, which is the largest non-Olympic hockey game to get those ratings. So they figured their shit out. But NBA, yeah, eliminate that shit. Eliminate that freaking All-Star game. That one's absolutely useless. You keep the MLB All-Star game because I just like the experience of that one. The Home Run Derby's fun, and then the All-Star game is fun. So that one can stay. Hockey can stay. But yeah, NBA, gone. Gone. It's not even a question. That All-Star game's dead anyways. Now, this is just a personal topic for me, but it just pisses me off every time. Speak for Yourself, or whatever the hell the name of that show is that follows Cowherd on Fox. They have a panel, it's Chris Broussard, who's an NBA analyst. I like his takes on stuff. And you have Danny Parkins, who's a Chicagoan, so, I like what he has to say. And then you have Nick Wright, who's kind of a moron, but I kind of agree with him now and then. Now, obviously, none of them are coaches. None of them are players. But one of them is a coach, and that is Eric Mangini. And everybody respects this guy's opinion, and for the life of me, I don't know why. Why do we even listen to a damn word this guy has to say? This guy talks like he won Super Bowl after Super Bowl after Super Bowl, and I am not giving him all the credit for those Patriots Super Bowls, because there was a guy by the name of Bill Belichick and Charlie Weiss that was part of those. And Bill Belichick was the absolute de facto in what that team was doing, not Eric frickin' Mangini. Eric Mangini went to coach the Cleveland Browns. And you know what he did in Cleveland? He failed. He failed, and he failed again. He coached the Jets. He had one wild card appearance. Got boat raced by Bill Belichick and that New England Patriots team. Boat raced. Why do we give a rat's ass or any type of opinion of what Eric Mangini has to say? The dude is a complete and utter failure in the National Football League. But yet we treat this guy like he's Bill Walsh. We treat him like he's Belichick. We listen to his opinions. He is a complete and utter moron. And he is absolutely sold on Jayden Daniels having a bounce-back season. How the hell can Jayden Daniels have a bounce-back season when his offensive line sucks? The Washington Commanders had one of the worst defenses last year. That doesn't mean there's a lot of time for Jayden Daniels to be on the field. So how the hell can Jayden Daniels have a bounce-back year, Mangini? And then Mangini always has to poke holes in the Chicago Bears. Well, didn't they do this bad? And didn't Caleb struggle in the first quarter? And this and that and da-da-da-da-da. I got news for you, Mangini. If you were coaching the opposing team against Ben Johnson is running circles around you, just like all 31 NFL teams did to your ass when you coached the Cleveland Browns. Your teams were pitiful. The Browns, the Jets, and all these sports writers and journalists and all these guys give Mangini this glowing recommendation like he's this phenomenal coach. Was I watching different games? The Cleveland Browns sucked. They still suck. I mean, they just picked the wrong starting quarterback. You picked Deshaun Watson. I get it. You're on the hook for millions and millions and millions and millions and millions of dollars. But that's your stupid fault. I never thought I'd be saying this, but I want Shedeur Sanders to be the starting quarterback of the Cleveland Browns. And I don't even want him to fail anymore. Now I actually want him to be a success. I feel bad for the Cleveland Browns. I do. And coming from a Bears fan, you know that's for real. I feel bad for Browns fans. I really do. You pick Deshaun Watson, and then Deshaun Watson has the balls to say, man, this team, these fans boo me all the time. I'd rather play 17 away games. Why the hell should they give a rat's ass about you, Deshaun? While they're watching freaking Baker Mayfield in Tampa Bay lighting it up. Those fans loved Baker Mayfield. And the Browns like, oh, you know what? It just ain't working anymore. You make too many turnovers. It's not working. Yeah, we're going to ship you over to Tampa. You're going to go to Tampa. We're not going to re-sign you. Go ahead. Thanks for the one playoff win we've had in God knows how many years. But yep, bye. Adios. Oh, Stefanski, you're not working anymore because you don't want to play Deshaun Watson. But you know what? Yeah, you're gone. You're gone. You can go to Atlanta. You can go to the Atlanta Falcons. The playoff win you gave us and almost beating the Kansas City Chiefs in Kansas City. Yeah, no thank you. We don't want that. Bye-bye. The Cleveland Browns are an absolute fucking disgrace. An absolute fucking disgrace. They really are. Start Shedeur. Who cares? You're not going to win a game this season anyways. You're going to be in the Archie Manning sweepstakes. Because you're going to be so bad. You don't have an offense. You don't have a quarterback. Hell, your defense, you got Jared Verse from the Rams because you made the trade for Myles Garrett. You traded Myles Garrett away. The Cleveland Browns are an absolute fucking joke. Absolute fucking joke. Last thing I got today. How far can the Fighting Irish go this season? My personal opinion? National champions, baby. You have a top defense for this Notre Dame team. You have a phenomenal offensive line for this Notre Dame team. C.J. Carr, who should be the Heisman finalist, if not the winner. The running backs, we'll see. They have a top receiving core. And you know what? You want to talk about the weak schedule Notre Dame has? Notre Dame, whoop everyone's ass. Whip everyone's ass out there. Blow them out. I want to have conversations at the end of the season about how this is ridiculous. Notre Dame is running up the score. These other teams can't stop the Irish. They're just imposing their will. That's what I want towards the end of the season. I think this Notre Dame team is absolutely a national championship contender, if not the winner. Marcus Freeman is going to have these boys ready to go week 1. This Notre Dame team should feel disrespected, and they should go out there and kick every team's ass that's on their schedule and leave it to no referee calls, leave it to nothing. Don't have that conversation of, well, we lost because of this. No. Because most of the time, it should have never gotten to that point in the first place. Like losing by a field goal. You should never let it get to that point. Losing because of a bad penalty. You should have never let it get to that point. Take care of your business. Kick every team's ass. Leave no stone unturned. Throttle these teams out of the damn stadium. Notre Dame, undefeated, national champs, 2026. Let's go, Irish. All right, everyone, this was the Windy City East podcast. I am your host, JP. Leave me some comments. Follow. Big series with the Brewers coming up. Big series, but let's not overlook the Reds. Have a good weekend.